Hello and good morning, everybody, and welcome to Jay's Latest. I'm your host, Craig Borden. Let's dive right into all the latest. That is all things Toronto Blue Jays. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. First things first, our competitors got better yesterday. That doesn't make me terribly happy. Blue Jays were hunting for closer, Ryan Helsley, and we're trying to get them going. And to that point, it seems like our rival was able to give them a better offer. The Baltimore Orioles 2-year, $28 million deal for Ryan Helsley, which is probably market average for a closer of his caliber. Wow. And to that point, he's right in that ballpark where I'm surprised because some of these projections are actually putting him in that same ballpark as like Nick Martinez and Pete Fairbanks, rather than some of the other places where Ryan Helsley obviously was one of the best closers in baseball for the St. Louis Cardinals for a while. So interesting to see that he signs with the Orioles. I was wishing he was going to be a Blue Jay. He seemed like he was a really good fit. Would have been the 31-year-old veteran we needed at the back of that bullpen. It would have been a nice pairing with Jeff Hoffman. Checkbox, checkbox, checkbox here. So Ryan Helsley is going to be a Baltimore Oriole, and like I said, pitching against those Toronto Blue Jays this spring even. So moving right along, what are the Blue Jays' internal options then? Okay, great. We talked about the closer market. Edwin Diaz is going to cost the team almost $20 million. Robert Suarez probably somewhere in the 15, 16 ballpark, which both ways, by the way, would be insanely good because the two of them are incredibly talented. But after signing this guy to a big contract, what is going to be open for that position is going to be the biggest question post Dylan Cease. The point is probably they're kind of cheap outish, I would guess, on a closer, and trying to find somebody, like I said, more like Nick Martinez and Pete Fairbanks that would bounce really well into that bullpen. Maybe it's taking a risk on somebody like Kenley Jansen at the age of 38. Could be something like that. He's been incredible as for the Angels and stuff last couple of years, the Red Sox. Um, Maybe it's just winding up the bullpen, grabbing Gregory Soto and company like that. I hope it's not a Mark Leiter Jr. situation, but we'll see there. But what is going to happen, like I said, as far as what internal options the Blue Jays could set? So there's plenty of wonderful things that the Blue Jays could do. Who will step up? Who is the next man up in the old 2025 mantra? I think the one that I'm looking forward to the most is post Tommy John Ricky Tiedemann. And Ricky Tiedemann is one of those guys that's insanely talented. He's a lefty, so that plays up to this bullpen idea a lot as well. And to that point, he's not going to run to the finish line on busting up innings. This could be very similar to what we saw in 2015, 2016, with at the time was prospect Aaron Sanchez. He had a great season in the bullpen before he ended up moving to a great season in the starting rotation, and the Blue Jays thought he was going to be like that forever. Yeah, there was a Alek Manoah-ish story well before Alek Manoah and Aaron Sanchez. And it's not the only one. But as you said, Tommy John surgery for him, he's still on the 40 man. So they think something's going to happen there. One of the other gentlemen that I'm dying to see get a shot at something. He's been a starter, but to that point, maybe it's an easy flip to the bullpen here and find a way to make a dent at the major league level, and that is Adam Mako. I've been really loving what his makeup is. He misses bats. Could be a nice little translation and a sidetrack here into the Blue Jays bullpen and be able to get him up and running because I do think he's got the right talent to it. He's on the 40-man roster already too, so that is also another lovely move there. He's just been really good, and last year ran into injuries and whatnot in that avenue. So those are a couple of guys that I highlight as potential help. There are the wonderful Angel Bastardos and all the other wonderful, prospects we have. I think Trenton Wallace wouldn't be a bad idea, but I'd like to see what he can do. But he's also left-handed, so that's another beautiful piece to that whole thing. So that is a wonderful place the Blue Jays can go here in the dumpster. It doesn't pay off in the free agent market. So there is that piece to it. But the last thing, because we're talking pitching today, I wanted to talk the ABS system, or the automated balls and strikes system, that the Blue Jays and all Major League Baseball players are going to get to use in the major league level this coming year. Not sure if you noticed last spring, but there's a lot of gentlemen going like this at the plate, and it was because they were actually calling for a challenge to to this ball or the strike that was at hand. The pitchers can do this, hitters can do this, they can call it from the dugout, however it might be. But that system has been in play in the minor leagues for a long time now, a few years. The Hawkeye system is one of those pieces of technology that could evolve the game. And to my friend Brooke Knows Ball, wonderful piece that she just did talking about how this is going to change the game on another level. And that's statistically, you're going to know who is the guys that are the masters of the strike zone now, because you're going to have the guys that win challenges and lose challenges. Brooke, wonderful homework. Love it. Can't wait to have you on the Jaybird Watching podcast again. And the biggest thing to this whole thing is, so the idea is that they tap their head if there's going to be a ball or a strike, and that's the signal that says they want to challenge the pitch at hand. It's going to be balls are going to turn into strikes and end innings. Strikes are going to end up, turning into balls and turn into walks in key critical points of the game. But to Brooke's point, this is a wonderful way of injecting the little chaos, and I quote by that way, and still continuing to, keep the main human part, the umpire, the pitch framing for the catcher, all the above, because there's still going to be so many challenges a game. It's not one of those things that is just universal that they get to do this on every play. So it's going to be very, very fun to watch. And not to mention, like I said, we're going to just get the call right and get those ones straight, because I know there's plenty of balls and strikes the Blue Jays would have loved to have this system in place for this season, and it could have been the difference between wins and losses, or burning a challenge too early. So just to be fun, that is the kind of chaos that is coming. And like I said, Brooke said, I think there's going to be some wonderful new statistics on who the heck can win on that fashion too. So we'll see what happens. So on that note, Blue Jays fans, that's what we got for you today. What do you think about Ryan Helsley signing to that contract? Do you think the Blue Jays missed out on a fish, or do you think it's okay that the Orioles get to deal with that high ERA from Ryan Helsley over the last couple of years? Hit us up in the comments. We hope you have a great day. And as always, let's go Blue Jays.